And now, reporting for Outside the Lines, Bob Lee.
We saw in baseball the stratification of that sport, the division based on money that plays out on the diamond, so that the wealthy teams expect success and the less well-off can only dream of it. On the NASCAR circuit, that division is a very personal phase. You've got the well-scrubbed stars at the front of the grid and the men who simply fill out the field. In this case, a driver who has known glory, but in his final days on the circuit is reduced to charity simply to start his engine. Jeremy Schaap tells the story. Open the door of Morgan Shepherd's garage, and time races back.
Here is the checkered flag, and there is Morgan Shepherd's first speedway victory.
I just can't hardly talk. I like to thank God.
More than 506 starts at NASCAR's top level, 168 top 10 finishes, 4 wins, Shepherd out in front, 1 savior.
My Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. That's where I draw my strap.
Your own personal Jesus. Shepherd earned more than $9 million long before the big payouts. As a NASCAR nomad, he raced for dozens of teams and sponsors. No matter the car number, Shepherd made his presence known. In 1995, he spun Dale Earnhardt out on the final lap at Talladega.
Reach out and touch me.
The Intimidator could not intimidate Morgan Shepherd.
Reach out and touch me.
Now, though, dust is settled on his mementos and the sponsors are gone. In a sport where drivers are nearing the end of their careers by the age of 50, Shepherd at 63 is going broke trying to keep pace in the new NASCAR.
I'm the last of the Mohegans.
There's days that I think, he's doing the right thing here. He's have enough money to survive. And there's other days I look at him with such huge admiration because he's not quit.
At the dawn of the 2005 NASCAR season in February, Morgan Shepherd and his makeshift crew, 2 underpaid friends, are working feverishly on his Dodge, preparing it for qualifying at the Daytona 500. In a sport where top teams have dozens of crew members and spend more than $15 million a year to compete, Shepherd receives virtually no money from any sponsors.
I think that type team, the days are numbered. That's sad because the sport was built on guys who could just drag their cars to any racetrack they wanted to and race.
His breed of drivers is dying out, no question about it. And you got these young kids coming on now in their late teens and early 20s, and they're more marketable.
At Daytona, Shepherd, running in the back, gets caught up in a crash during one of the qualifying races, ruining his chances to make the 500.
This is the first race of the season. This is what everybody comes here for, is to get their season started off good. We didn't get started off too good.
If he had qualified, regardless of where he finished, he would have made at least $220,000. A lot of money for a team surviving week to week. Instead, he makes money any way he can, even autographing pieces of his twisted car for a few extra bucks. But scraping by is nothing new for Morgan Shepherd. He was born in the dirt-poor moonshining hills of Ferguson, North Carolina, raised on this tiny patch of land in this shack.
This is where it kind of all started.
Yeah, you might say my racing career started right on this corner here when I was riding a tricycle around the corner and getting it up on 2 wheels and speeding around the house.
You were a daredevil even then?
Yeah, I was a daredevil even then.
Shepherd grew up the son of a bootlegger who died when Morgan was 12. At about that time, Morgan, here on the left, traded in his 2-wheeler for his first car.
Traded it for I gave 2 flying squirrels, a gray squirrel, 12-gauge shotgun, and $12 and a half.
As Shepherd worked his way up the racing ranks, his hard driving style mirrored his lifestyle, which he says was dominated by drinking and womanizing.
Wasn't a good family man. only cared about myself and what I could do for Morgan Shepherd.
After a race in Daytona in 1975, Shepherd's wife left him and his personal life crashed. But Shepherd would be born again, fittingly behind the wheel.
I was driving down the road, and I just absolutely broke down. I was in tears. I couldn't even hardly see the drive. And by the time I got home that evening, about 8:30 at night, I fell down on my knees, and I prayed to the Lord that He would take all this off of me.
Today, Shepherd continues to race. He says to spread the word of Jesus. On his website, he pleads for financial help.
Almost every week, I have no idea how we're even going to send an entry blank in, which is $2,425. I really am concerned about Morgan's future as well because of where the sport has gotten to where he can't compete and doesn't have the money to do it, and at his age he's not going to be able to get the big sponsorship dollars. I don't know where he can go from here.
In March, a month after Daytona, Shepherd heads to Las Vegas and hits the jackpot, qualifying and at one point actually leading the race, choosing not to pit during an early caution flag.
As we go back to green flag racing, Morgan Shepherd did not pit, so he's your leader. But as the green flag flies, Kurt Busch blows on by.
Shepherd finishes 40th and earns more than $75,000. Now he can afford to race another week, and the next stop is a favorite.
To the front straightaway. The winner, one of the biggest cliffhangers we've had in a long time, Morgan Shepherd wins it for the Wood Brothers.
The Atlanta Motor Speedway is where Morgan Shepherd claimed 3 of his 4 wins, but this week is different. A driver Shepherd hired to deliver his rig took it on a joyride to New Mexico.
Now 63-year-old Morgan Shepherd.
As a result, his crew has no time to prepare the car, and Shepherd fails to qualify.
We was just awful. I mean, we was one of the slowest cars.
As Shepherd calls home to share the bad news, his crew, exhausted, sleeps in the RV.
Super loose.
You know, it's just a shame to see the guys that built the sport and the money's taken them out of it.
Good. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Watch this. Here it goes.
As Carl Edwards celebrated his Atlanta victory with a backflip, Morgan Shepherd couldn't get out of the parking lot. His recently recovered truck won't start. It also needs a new paint job because his name was misspelled. Shepherd hasn't raced since that week in March. His season and his career are in jeopardy, but he vows to continue.
We'll be there as long as there's a way. I will not quit. I think people in America still like an underdog. They like to see people do things out of the ordinary and to accomplish something without having a lot of resources behind them. I think that's just, he's doing it the American way, and I think people still appreciate that. I know I do.
Jeremy Schaff reporting. Morgan Shepherd has paid the nearly $2,500 entry fee for Saturday night's race, the Nextel Cup race at Darlington, attempting to qualify for his second race of the year. What does this gap between the big-name teams and drivers and the men scraping to get by, what does this mean for the future of NASCAR? We'll consider it as we continue Outside the Lines.